You got the promotion. 6 months ago, you couldn't sleep thinking about it. You rehearsed the conversation with your manager in the shower. You refreshed your email 11 times on the day they said they'd decide. And then it happened. You got the thing. Now it's 3 weeks later, and you're already thinking about the next one. You've done this before. New apartment, new relationship, new salary bracket, each one was supposed to change something. Each one did for about 9 days. A Roman slave with a shattered leg figured this out roughly 2,000 years before any of us did. His name was Epictetus. He owned nothing. He couldn't leave the house he lived in. And he had the nerve to say that the people chasing promotions and villas and senatorial approval were the ones in chains, not him. Which, if you think about it for more than 5 seconds, is kind of an outrageous claim for a man who was literally owned by another person. Epictetus didn't mince words on this. In the Discourses, Book 3, he puts it plainly: freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it. For if you wish for any of the things which are not in your own power, you must be a slave. It does not matter whether you desire it a little or a great deal. That's a man who watched Rome's wealthiest senators beg for appointments, collapse over inheritances, poison relatives for property, and concluded that the desire itself was the problem, not whether you got the thing. He wasn't saying, don't have preferences. He was saying something harder. He was saying that the moment you attach your peace to an outcome, you've already lost it. The outcome hasn't happened yet, and you've already lost it. Every self-help account on Instagram tells you to want harder. Visualize, manifest, set the intention. Epictetus would have scrolled past all of it. He'd probably have said, wanting harder is just a fancier way of describing dependence. There's a word in Pali, tanha. It shows up in the Buddha's very first sermon, the one at Deer Park in Sarnath, roughly 400 years before Epictetus was born. Tanha gets translated as craving, but that's kind of generous. It's closer to thirst, a compulsive, reflexive reaching for. The Buddha listed 3 varieties: craving for sense pleasure, craving for existence, and this one's interesting craving for non-existence. Wanting things to stop. Wanting to not feel this way anymore. That's tanha too. What's strange is that Epictetus, who had zero contact with Buddhist texts the Silk Road carried silk, not sutras, arrived at nearly the same diagnosis from a completely different starting point. The Stoic starts with logic and physics. The Buddhist starts with meditation and direct observation. They meet in the middle, which is the wanting is the suffering. The thing you want is almost beside the point. I think that convergence across continents and centuries with no shared source probably tells you something. Arthur Schopenhauer, a man nobody would call cheerful, pushed this further in the 1800 seconds. He described human experience as a pendulum swinging between pain and boredom. You want something, and the wanting hurts. You get the thing, and the relief lasts until it doesn't, and then you're bored. In The World is Will and Representation, he writes, we feel pain, but not painlessness. We feel care, but not freedom from care. We feel the wish, but not the attainment. All satisfaction, or what is commonly called happiness, is really always negative. Only it is never positive. That's a bleak reading, but look at what he's actually saying. Satisfaction isn't a feeling you gain, it's the brief absence of wanting. You feel the gap close, and then almost immediately a new gap opens. You've noticed this. You buy the thing, you get the dopamine hit, and within 72 hours the item sits on a shelf and you're browsing for the next one. Hedonic adaptation, psychologists call it now. Schopenhauer just got there first, without the fMRI scanner. Every mainstream productivity framework assumes the problem is that you haven't gotten enough yet. Optimize the morning, track the habits. Set quarterly OKRs for your personal life, which is a sentence that would have made Epictetus throw his one good sandal across the room. The rebellion here isn't giving up. It isn't sitting in a field doing nothing. Epictetus ran a school. He taught, he argued, he engaged, but he'd reorganized what he was willing to need. He wanted to teach well. He didn't need his students to become famous. He wanted to think clearly. He didn't need Rome to agree. there's a difference between doing things and needing things to go a particular way, and that difference, I think, is actually the whole game. Schopenhauer said we swing between pain and boredom. The Buddha said craving is the root. Epictetus said desire is the chain. 3 traditions, 3 centuries, 3 continents. None of them said stop moving. All of them said stop gripping. Perhaps that distinction matters more than any of them realized.